So please join me in welcoming Mayor Melissa Blake.
Well, thank you so very much, and I apologize for the list of accolades because really the only thing I am worthy of is cold medicine today. My apologies. The opportunity to present to you today is something quite special and unique. We've been doing States of the Region various times and intervals over the years, but this year is the first year where I would tell you I'm a little bit nervous about this one. So today what I will start with is today to the Board of Directors and members of the Fort McMurray Construction Association, distinguished guests, council colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and friends, I hope all. It's great to be here today at the Sawridge Inn and Conference Centre to reflect on the year that has been certainly testing to our region's energy and to the energy of our region. We live in challenging times and we're not immune to the challenges we face as Albertans, Canadians, and citizens of a global community. Industry, the business community, workers, incredible social profit sector, our communities from Fort Chipewyan to Conklin and all points in between. And of course, our residents, family, friends, neighbors, and unfortunately, some former neighbors have all been affected by one of the toughest years in recent history. Wood Buffalo's role as Alberta's and in many ways Canada's economic engine means that we're very much at ground zero for the uncertainties that have increasingly become the new normal. That said, however, if you expect this to be a state of the region to be about doom and gloom, that's not me and that's not going to happen, because I know Fort McMurray and Wood Buffalo region is Canada's strongest and most resilient community, and it will continue to be strong and resilient. Strong and resilient. Well, if you like that, you're going to hear much more of it. So strong and resilient, as I say, more in a moment. This downturn, however, is different than the one in 2008. When oil hit $34 a barrel, it was because we were impacted by a global financial crisis. We bounced back quickly. This time, we're at the center of the downturn because it is directly related to the oil sands and the energy industry as a whole. Some estimates state that Alberta has lost up to 35,000 jobs in the oil and gas sector this year. This doesn't account for the impact on manufacturing jobs and other sectors all across the country that depend on our oil sands. This new economic reality impacts directly the most vulnerable in our community, and you might even have heard the CBC report last week about the Wood Buffalo Food Bank, which expects to see an 80% increase in grocery hamper requests this year over last. Families and people that just last year donated to the food bank have become clients almost overnight. The good news is that we know we are strong and resilient, and that our great community, including the leaders here in this room today, will ensure that no family in Wood Buffalo goes hungry this holiday season. So strong and resilient, and I must take this opportunity to acknowledge one of the finest leaders I think that Wood Buffalo's seen, the late Councillor John Chatty. As you know, John passed away last week after a courageous 2-year battle with cancer, and our thoughts and prayers do remain with his family and friends as they go through their grieving process. But since attending John's funeral last week alongside my council colleagues, I've had time to reflect a bit further on John's incredible life lived in service to our community. In fact, the way that John lived his life and the person he was is a reflection of the best of Wood Buffalo. Charismatic, sharp, and authentic, John cared deeply for Fort Chipewyan, but he also understood that we are better united as a region. Like many of you, he was a proud operator of a small business, and like many of you, he was one of the most quietly charitable people Wood Buffalo's ever seen. No recognition was required for him, and I can be pretty certain that this year he'd be helping out the food bank this Christmas. Strong and resilient, that was John Chatty, and that is Wood Buffalo. If we've been reminded of anything this year, it's that booms come and go and that people remain the same. Solid foundation of people like John is our real strength, after all. Our people, you, are our most treasured and valuable resource, our actual catalysts for change, our big thinkers and even bigger doers, more important than any commodity or municipal project ever could be. And it is that energy that matters most as we come together to build again. So what does strong and resilient mean for us today? Well, before I get there, let me take you back to a time in my State of the Region delivered right here in January 2014. It seems so long ago, but our community has taken major steps forward in these 2 short years. So if anyone can remember the price of a barrel of oil in January 2014, if you guessed just under $110 a barrel, you'd be correct. In January 2014, our new council was only a few months old. We had just finished working with the province to open our new bridges and ease congestion issues. Anyone else remember those long days of an hour-long commute from Timberlea to downtown? I don't think I'm ever going to forget them. Back then, we were 6 months away from opening our impressive new airport terminal. While the walls were just starting to go up at Shell Place, Sny Point Park was just an idea, and we were crossing our fingers that the twinning of 63 would continue to move forward. Meanwhile, we were in ongoing discussions with the province on the historic 2013 land release that could double the size of Fort McMurray by 2030. And we were still working with federal and provincial governments on behalf of our seniors to deliver aging in place at Willow Square. Flash forward to today. Today, strong and resilient means much improved transportation network, both in Fort McMurray and on a nearly completed Twin 63. And I sincerely thank the provincial partners for their work in bringing this to fruition. Strong and resilient means the new airport terminal is open and running and will likely be expanding soon, creating jobs and injecting life into our local economy. Strong and resilient means an expanded McDonald Island Park with Shell Place, delivered on time and at the highest quality standards of sustainability and recreation, delivering grassroots fun, quality of life, community events, and many great memories, as well as any community in the country for our young and our young at heart. Strong and resilient means the opening of the beautiful Sny Point Park, driven by the direction of our people, the Waterfront Steering Committee, and it helped play host to the 2015 Western Canada Summer Games, which by all accounts were the best games ever held. Strong and resilient means opening of the newly renovated Royal Canadian Legion Branch 165, which is a facility that speaks to our profound respect for our veterans that live, work, and play in Wood Buffalo. Strong and resilient means that you set an all-time record for fundraising for the Northern Lights Foundation last weekend at McDonald Island, and it means another successful United Way campaign that will once again prove what we already know, that we are the most giving, caring community in Canada for the past 10 years running. Last but not least, strong and resilient means an aging in place at Willow Square. And while I know it hasn't been easy getting to this point, I sincerely thank the province for listening to our seniors and the will of our community, and a unified council which voted unanimously to commit $10.5 million to a facility at Willow Square. On behalf of council, I thank you, our seniors, especially Dave McNeely and former councillor Dave Kirshner, the Advisory Committee on Aging, the Golden Years Society, our current and former MLAs, our MP, and federal government, Wood Buffalo Housing and Development, all of you who stood with us, strong as we fought for our seniors. Strong and resilient sums that up quite well. But moving on, getting it right now, is in all of our best interest. The province's new climate change strategy, lower for longer oil prices, the pipeline perils means that we're moving our region forward to come at a slower pace. We'll have a 100 megaton cap on CO2 emissions from the oil sands, which certainly changes how we plan development, but we are still going to grow. The Protecting Our Investment in Our Future report, recently released by UDI, Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce, and the Fort McMurray Real Estate Board, reminds us that industry is set to flip from major funding for capital to the funding for sustaining operations in 2017. Yep, there's a change in that landscape, but there's still billions of dollars of investment in our region. But infinite inflation is terminal. Strong and resilient companies like yours realize that structural reset on everything is our vaccine against future price dips. Everything must become more competitive. Nuts and bolts, soup and sandwiches, rents, leases, mortgages, wages, you name it, and I probably mean it. Getting it right now, means getting it right for our future. There will be difficulties. We've seen layoffs, foreclosures, fewer contracts, more land but less development, tightening of screws and the battening of hatches by industries. But I want you to flash back to Councillor John Chatty. He was given a mere months to live with his cancer. Strong and resilient and fighting to the very end, his 2 months became 2 years, to no one's surprise. Wood Buffalo will fight too and forge a new path towards prosperity. We'll see a pipeline or two approved eventually. We will see emissions reductions industry-wide open the door to future development. We will see our robust youth population mature themselves, innovating, diversifying our economy along the way, and needing that new land for housing as they begin to raise their own children. Through it all, we will see the price of oil go up and down, up and down, up and down again. Standing together, strong and resilient, this is a storm we will weather. As we pass the midpoint of this council term, and as we debate and finalize the 2016 budget, we're guided by the 2017 to 15 strategic plan, and that plan is called Building a Strong and Resilient Community. Delivering on this plan will be critical in developing an even better community. As a municipality, it's our role to create the conditions where all of our residents, industry, businesses, Aboriginal, First Nation, and Métis partners in the social profit sector can thrive now and into the future. This means following through on the outcomes of the KPMG audit and ongoing organizational and functional review to develop better, open, transparent policies and processes, but more importantly, a commitment to continued infrastructure development that will create jobs and bolster our local economy, making us strong and resilient for when the next boom inevitably comes. In closing, I'd like to thank my council colleagues, Councillors Alt, Boussier, Cardinal, Germain, McGrath, Marr, Stroud, Tatum, and Vinnie. We're all committed to making our community an even better place to live, work, play, and stay. I'd also like to wish everyone here a very wonderful holiday season and a Merry Christmas, as we ask you to think about those in our community who are less fortunate while we celebrate with our family and friends. They need help more than ever, and they're depending on all of us. But the thing is, I already know that you'll come through for them, because what I finish these remarks with is that you are the state of our region. Thank you.